Hello, everyone, and welcome to Authenticity. I am Anna Toothman today, and my lovely guest, Joe Weaver. Welcome, beloved brother. It's been a long time.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for having me.
It is my true joy to see you out there. I tap in, see you're doing your own thing, your own podcast, sharing your light, your wisdom. I know several of my friends were excited to tune in and tap into your wisdom. It touched some chords with several of them, so I'm excited to hear some of what you have to share. I do want to let everyone know that, like myself, Joe is a intuitive life coach, an energy healing practitioner, and a teacher of the new paradigm, the MDT system. Now, for those listening, I always like to have my guest Joe share what MDT means to people that are listening if they're not familiar with that kind of acronym.
Multi-dimensional transformation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so, right now, this multidimensional transformation, oh boy, are we going through it. And you have been doing that on your podcast, explaining just that.
Yeah. I just started this new video channel, I think probably 6 months ago, and named it the Shift Update, and mainly has to do, everything regarding the shift and just providing information to assist people with the shift and the changes taking place on Earth, and a lot of information, not necessarily just to feed the ego, but to assist with actual changes that
Mhm.
are sort of needed in order to make those shifts more relevant, more than just feeding people's egos, with which is, there's a ton of information out there that all it does is really just people look for validation of what they believe, and then they're looking for information to validate that information. But really, are you expanding, and so on? And so that's the reason why I created that, to create a resource, a free resource for people.
And that's a really reflective of your growth, that you're at a place where you want to share that freely so that everyone has the opportunity to be aware and to remember the truth, their own truth. And I always say, take what resonates.
Yes, I've continued to go through my own transformation, integration of remembering more and more about my multidimensional self, and so it's a lot of that I've been sharing, talking about, writing articles. I've had different video channels, YouTube channels over the years, probably pushing over 15 years now. And this recent one, Power Up with Joe Weaver, is definitely more expressing more of the integration that I've gone through, and really sharing more of the real truth of things. So yes, definitely.
I want to talk about one of the shows that I'm talking about that resonated with one of my friends, and it was the one that had to do with sexual manipulation.
Okay.
And so it brought some aha moments to people. That little brief snippet of your video really touched some people. Do you want to get into it a little bit and discuss what you mean about sexual manipulation and how we see it in ourselves through other people manipulating us in previous connections, and also on TV and politicians and etc. How that works.
Yeah. As I explained in that particular topic, and I shared some information regarding that over a period of 2 different months, 2 different updates. And I have a feeling like I'll be sharing more about that topic in the future. But the one thing I did share when I first chose to really talk about it is that it's such an in-depth topic that it could be gone on for like weeks or months. It's something that is not simply explained within a short period of time because of
Mm,
its how complex and how multi-layered
yep.
the everything to deal with that topic is.
Yep.
And the main reason why I brought it up is again for people to see again what we're holding on to that limits expansion. And a lot of these old patterns are tied into our energetic systems. And so it's, a lot of people, again, the ego and the mind is very, very tricky. And a lot of us sort of just like to keep our awareness and our focus in one direction or one part of our, say, existence. And they sort of don't want to look in the other directions, and really feel what they're connected into. And so that's the reason why I brought that topic up is to pay attention to what and how we are tied into lower energetics and um, the patterns that we are sensing. Usually a lot of these patterns and or energies and so on, tendencies or whatever you want to call them, are examples of how we're connected into those things. So it's not like a bad or good thing. It's a matter of vibration. The way I explain it is
Mhm.
simply looking at things as levels of vibration instead of in the dualistic manner of good, bad, light, or dark. And therefore, you can take the judgment part out of it and simply look at things and how you can take more, step into your power to a greater degree and clear these energetics. It's not that you're clearing these energetics for everyone
Mhm.
and everything. You are clearing these energetics from the levels of your being, and therefore, how you interact with the collective energetics then is experienced differently from there. The more that you do that, the more that you become aware of these things, the more that you are able to exist in this space without those lower energetics in the old, paradigm you could describe is you interact with all of that differently. You see it differently, you feel it differently. It's no longer a battle. It's no longer a thing of trying to shield yourself from someone or something or a what a lot of people view as negative or dark or whatever that no longer really plays in the game anymore,
Right.
you know.
And you said that the key word there was judgment. Keeps you out of judgment. And
Yeah,
one of the things that lowers our vibration frequency, because our vibration equals our reality and what we're experiencing. So the minute you go into judgment, it drops you into a different frequency. Not saying it's bad. I'm just saying the facts here is it's a vibrational match, and judgment is one of the quickest ways that it will drop your vibration. When we are observing, when we're in conversation, judgment comes in all forms, even in our quiet stillness.
definitely.
When we allow the mind to chatter, because it's a mastery to to bring that to quiet, 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 quiet. Come back into the heart, come back into the high heart. As we start to understand that's how we got in this predicament. Right, Joe? Like this judgment from one another, and thinking that one is the ego, right? The ego is not the enemy.
It's just a filter that we choose to see through and experience life through. And so, but it's not the only filter within this avatar body that we can experience life through. You know, we have other choices. And then regarding the judgment, and that was one of the topics in last month's update. It was the last one that and I think you shared it on your Instagram,
I did.
is, a lot of the examples of people have given in the past is, what is on the other side of fear? You don't really know what's on the other side of fear until you let go of that fear.
Yeah.
And the same applies to judgment. You really don't know, in order to truly experience what's on the other side of non-judgment, is to let go of judgment.
Right.
And that there is energy on the other side of that judgment. There's levels of non-judgmental energy. This has to do with the expanded energies of who we are. It's available. It's available to everyone already. It's just a matter of us to let go again of the old, and in order to let the new in. And it's just a
What's on the
matter of
other
that.
side is perception.
Yeah.
Your
It's just another
perception.
level of perception. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's your perspective. A higher perspective is all is perfect. As we expand, we realize that it's all playing out the way that it's supposed to for each individual expression.
Yes, definitely.
And once they understand that it's the judgment that keeps the reflection being judged back to them, that keeps us in that vibration and frequency, is that dance of,
Mm-hmm.
I had this thought about you, now you have this thought about me, and it's reflected back, and it's a balancing act, what we could call karma, or people use other words, but it's all the same thing.
Yeah, it when we're I think that one of the main words that I've been using a lot recently in the last 2 to 3 months, I've been finding myself describing more and more, is vibrational matching.
Mm-hmm.
And how we vibrationally match ourselves with not only different levels of our expanded self or multidimensional self and so on. That's how we get in touch with these levels, is through raising the vibration, of course, of our this level, with the other levels. But at the same time, that that vibrational matching has to do with, if you are in a state of viewing things through your filter of awareness, through
Mm-hmm.
a judgmental level or a fearful level or whatever, of the ego, that's what you're going to be seeing. That's what you're going to be experiencing more of. And by taking yourself out of those levels of perception, that opens us up to see things in a different way. You're no longer
Right.
in the same game. It's the same thing with the political game going on right now. There's so many people that are stepping out of the old, that are seeing the game for what it is, that are no longer saying, this whole two-party system, it just doesn't. That's not. It doesn't align with me anymore. I'm no longer going to choose a side. I'm
Right.
no longer, going to play this game. And the great thing is that there are tons of people
Mm-hmm.
that are now starting to see that.
Yeah.
That's the awesome thing regarding this shift, is that more and more people are starting to truly step out of that space and say, well, this whole thing is just like that's a circus. And that's the great thing. That's an example of, and even though that is continuing to play out, um, just as within the 100 monkey effect and so on. I just posted something on Facebook about that a couple days ago again. Is that you know it's we are moving now into the larger groups of the collective. These
Yep.
things that we were working on 15, 20, 30 years ago are
Right.
really, now
Yep.
kicking in,
Yep.
and the different second and third waves are dealing with much larger percentages of the population, are really
Yes.
starting to see things, differently. And um, even though there's a lot of craziness going on right now, there's been tremendous expansion in this last, just even within this last year, regarding all of this. It's been crazy. Uh,
It's really beautiful to see the expansion. More and more people are having these conversations, as you know,
yeah.
Joe. And more people are open to this unity versus dualistic experience. And that's what they're seeing. They realize the illusion is what it is. It was an illusion to keep us separate. And
Hmm.
the political party was doing that. They were up there saying one was wrong, one was right, one was this, one was that. Vote for me, do this. This one's going to do this, and now we see that there's some sort of puppeteering going on here.
Yeah, there's a lot of puppeteering. And but we're working through that space of still, so many people giving their power away outside of themselves, of
Mhm.
looking to a figure to save them
Right.
from something, then so that is still really playing out so much within the collective, and there's so much of that, um, so many people that are still looking outside of themselves for that representative to lead them, to take care of this or what that, and all they have to do is sit back, and so that's going to really, the way I see it, is that's going to continue to play out. That's going to take a little bit of time for more and more people to see this game, and make the choice to say, wow, yeah, okay, I see this now. I'm going to make some changes, you know.
And that was really important. The work that many of us did for the last decade or more, the last 10, 20 years was to pave the way so that this time that we're experiencing now, and I was explaining this yesterday evening to my friends, we were gathering, is that we have made it possible now, ascension possible for the choice to ascend. And before, it wasn't possible for a mass, all of humanity, to have an opportunity to make a choice. And that choice now has been open. We've paved the way for many. And, depending on what your service is moving forward, it's going to change. Some of us are going to be creating the new earth paradigm while the other one is collapsing. Because when one is collapsing, you have to have something being built to move to. So very much this is going to do what it's going to do. The old is
Hmm.
going to, we don't have to sit here and watch it dismantle. Well, we like to focus on creating the new so that we can start creating. This is just going to fall away.
Yes, it's definitely going to continue to dismantle its own self. It's self-imploding
Yes.
in a lot of different
Yes.
ways, the as things are continuing, just sort of like the how um, sort of insane some of the things are, and how in their up in everyone's face, how like uh, like a clown show, in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
But the one thing you said about the ascension part,
Hmm.
you know, is just a matter of change. You know, ascension is the same thing as change. And um, one of the main things that a lot of people out there that I wrote in my new most recent newsletter is that there's so many people that don't see a reason to change, you know, yet. But that doesn't mean, you know, I guess what that means is, well, a little bit more craziness needs to happen in order for them to sort of see the game or the circus for really what it is, you know?
And
And
that's where we're at now, right? Those are the I want to see it to believe it people.
yeah, yeah. And so for the people that have already sort of see the game in some different ways, is to continue to stay focused, not necessarily. Again, this is the way I see it anyway. Not necessarily holding anything in place for anyone else, but for everyone else, for us to continue to allow ourselves to expand and to continue to expand our perceptions and to continue to release what we were holding on to even 6 months ago, you know,
Yes.
different patterns and having the willingness to continue to evolve, to continue to grow and step into our power to a greater degree. And then it sort of goes back to what I was saying regarding the sexual energy stuff. It's not talked about very often. You know, a lot of people don't want to go there and talk about the level of sexual manipulation that takes, you know, is currently taking place on Earth. You know, and so those are the kinds of things of looking into the other aspects of ourself that people might not want to look to, and truly look within yourself and how you're tied into these other aspects, not to, again, look away and say, oh, that's negative, I don't want to go there, but to actually turn all of your awareness to whatever you view as negative and truly become one with whatever that is, to the point where you no longer see negative, you no
Mhm.
longer see positive. All it is just energy and vibration. That's all it is. And once you are able to do that, this whole then the manipulation and dualistic game is viewed totally differently, you know. And so um, that sort of brings us into the topic that was coming to me to share regarding, you know, us coming together here today. When you first contacted me about coming on the show, you had mentioned something about the divine masculine, you know,
Yes.
energy and everything else. And there's a lot of talk about, you know, divine feminine energy.
Mhm.
And I started getting some information right after that about like um, how to describe this in a way. And so what it'll go back, how I'll get into this is over the years, I've continued to integrate more of my own multidimensional knowingness of myself, you know. And one of the things, even though I have not had total recall or total, um, say, awareness of all of my incarnations and other things, but there's a lot of different things that have come very naturally to me of just pure knowingness of different things regarding myself uh, from a multidimensional perspective. And
Right.
one of those things is that I know that I was on Earth while it was being created. I just know there's another aspect of me was here while it was being created. And so, in a way, I have been here on Earth for a very, very long time. And I
Mhm.
know that I've existed on Earth in a multitude of different forms. And to, you know, this aspect of myself right here with you right now is just a vessel for my multidimensional self to, you know, exist within. And so if I am being truthful with myself of who I truly am, I'm not really going to be labeling myself as something. I try to do, there's certain things regarding the services that I offer. I have to explain them in some way for people to understand. But in the same way, I don't feel aligned with labeling myself, such as, or something like the divine masculine or anything like that. Um, more, I sort of see it as more like Shiva. It's the divine balance of both, you know,
Mm,
and the integration of that is, the integration of our multidimensional self.
sure.
The more that we label ourselves, we're only limiting ourselves, you know? Um, so that's sort of how um, I view when we're talking. That's the reason why I really never really talk about specifically divine feminine or divine masculine, specifically because um, I see that the end, well, not necessarily the end, but what we're working towards integration of is beyond the
Gender.
one or the other. It's the divine
Right.
balance of both
Both.
energies
Hmm.
expressing through whatever vessel that we're within, you know?
Right.
Um, and so that was the example that was coming to me to share regarding, you know, uh, talking about divine masculine or divine feminine and so on. It's really for us to continue to let go of the labels of classifications and to continue to be open to integrating ourselves beyond all of these identities and things that we sort of identify with and or classifications and so on. So that's the part that was really coming to me to share regarding this today.
That's a beautiful share, and it's so many truths coming, resonating with me is we are moving away from labels, as many of us know, and that we use words to describe so we can have a podcast and we can have these conversations about what it means to be the divine masculine or not call yourself a divine masculine, or what is the divine feminine and what is a balanced divine masculine and feminine. These are
Yeah.
all very important, right? And
Mhm.
as you said, this is the vessel that I chose for my journey and my soul to learn through
Yeah.
the most at this time.
So, um, if an aspect of my being basically is living in a dolphin, you know,
Yep.
that would be really a divine dolphin.
Yep.
The same thing like an aspect of myself existing in a tree, then that's of course that's a divine tree. But really, everyone is already divine,
Yes.
everyone. It doesn't matter if they've realized it or not. They basically already are. So
Yes.
the idea of labeling, the integration of this or that divineness really is just the remembering of our divineness. And it doesn't matter if we're a dolphin, a whale, a tree, or a flower, a butterfly, or a physical being. Um, it's a matter of the energy of our, say, cosmic self truly being allowed to flow through that space, you know? And so this whole part about the identification and classification, labels, all this other stuff, those are the things that I really see that those are the stepping stones for people to continue to expand and to continue to allow their own multidimensional selves to integrate. One of the things, like, if we're continually holding on to certain aspects of our multidimensional existence, such as, a lot of people do, it's very easy for the ego to hold on to these identities, such as I was in Egypt and so on. I
Sure.
am Egyptian, or um, I'm a Octurian. I'm an Octurian being. We have all these other aspects and other aspects
Yes.
of our beings that on throughout the universe that is experiencing life in different forms by us here in this physical form, holding on to an identity that has to do with one level. That essentially is our focus, and that continues to be our focus, sort of like with quantum physics. That is where our focus is, and therefore that's where we're continually tapping into that one level of aspect energy.
Hmm.
But at the same time, if we're continually always saying and classifying ourselves as this Octurian being, or this Palladian being, or this incarnation on Earth when I was an Egyptian, we're only tapping into those incarnations, and we're not really allowing ourselves to expand and integrate the other aspects of our being that are, throughout the universe. And we're not allowing that wholeness truly to be embodied if all we're doing is continually focusing on certain incarnations. And so I see it's very important to continue to let go of all these, um, like in one of the updates I have done in the last couple months. I continually bring up the thing about pointing out things about spirituality and how the spiritual trap in all these identities. And
So true. Oh my gosh.
yeah, and how easy it is to continually say, this is my ritual, and I do this same ritual every single day that I've been doing for 15 or 20 years, you know? Okay, that's great. This that got to you to this place. But what is on the other side of that ritual that you're doing? What are the other
Well, at each
possibilities,
level,
you know?
excuse me, yes, because at each level of our growth, we are expanding. We're learning and embodying a new level, which brings in new information. And so
Mm-hmm.
when we do get trapped in doing the same thing, doing the same rituals as you're speaking of, right? The intentions are there and it got us to a certain place. And then we learn and remember that we've outgrown this modality or this ritual. And then we remember another aspect of self, where we have Octarian energy or Lyran or something from Andromeda, or where our highest self is residing at the moment, or we're integrating all aspects of self.
Mm-hmm.
And through that is where all the knowledge, all of a sudden you remember that you can do something and you're like, wow, I'm pretty good at this. Well, there's an aspect of you that has done this before.
Definitely.
And when you think, you mentioned quantum, right? The quantum and everything is happening all at once. You said that, some people remember their life in Egypt, or they remember themselves as Octurian. Like for myself, my first life was in Octurus. Right now, I really relate to Andromeda. My first memory in this lifetime was of Egypt, but I'm also a mother and a grandmother and a friend. I'm multi-dimensional in so many things.
Yeah.
Besides, a Stargate keeper or a crystalline, I could give a whole list of names and capabilities that we all have within us to remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, another example that mentioned in one of the topics of, again, in the shift update was, if you are clearing your energy systems today the same as you were 5 or 10 years ago. Again, that's a good example because there's all kinds of other possibilities of you truly stepping into your power to be able to clear energy in a way and so simply and efficiently, easily now compared to 5 or 10 years ago. So if you're still clearing energy or seeing energy in the same way than you were, a few years ago, that again is holding on to that certain focus into a certain area, a certain level of frequency range of your own awareness. And so having the willingness to say sense energy, see energy, clear energy in ways that you've never done before, again, is the other levels of us stepping more and more into our power. Seeing
Joe
how
Page
we
says
can,
hi.
huh?
Paige is watching and he says hi.
Hi, Paige. Cheers. Yeah, I mean, so like the possibilities of being able to move energy like we weren't able to move energy before is available to us now. And it's I've found my own process of working with energy has expanded greatly, in these past couple of years. It's truly totally different than it used to be for me personally.
Of course. We're remembering more and more each day, more light, more love is coming into this planet. Mother Plasma is on this planet now, bathing and being in water. It's surrounding us, and just like you said, it's present now more than ever. And
Hmm.
we're on a fast forward train now. The evolution there's no stopping us now.
Yeah, things are definitely in high gear. The acceleration is in high gear for sure. There's um the train is moving along really fast. The I think the key is if we start to find ourselves being scattered, starting to feel ourselves out of balance or wobbly or whatever, is the importance to recenter, um, and to reevaluate, um, looking within and saying, okay, where am I holding a lower frequency energetics that is creating this wobble? You know, it's an example that I used is the top spinning, and the faster the top spins, the more in balance it is. It doesn't wobble. Um, And when we are out of balance, that's when we're basically in a dualistic state of awareness. That's when we're in a wobble. We're continually in a matter of a battle with ourself. You know that perception, these levels of perceptions that we're holding on to, is what creates the wobble of our energetics. It's not truly in tune and spinning in balance. So um, is the refinement, the continual refinement of how we see things, um, continuing to transform ourselves and release, um, is really key right now. Uh, because I see that this acceleration is not going to like plateau. There's no plateauing. It's going to
No,
continue. We're accelerating, and it's going to we're going to continue to accelerate. There's no doubt about that.
I'm very excited about this acceleration for myself and humanity and all that is, and more knowledge and more remembering. One of your offerings that you're offering right now, Joe, as a life coach, is that part of your offerings? Is that through your life coach uh, platform, or do you have other platform that you're using right now for sessions, or how are you creating in this now?
I've just recently redesigned my website, completely updated it with all my latest offerings, and I've tried and tested different offerings through the years, and um, what I'm currently doing is a 24-hour energetic cleanse, just a energetic cleanse by itself. And the reason why I did it for 24 hours specifically, instead of, a lot of people just do, and what I personally used to do is just a, say, energy cleanse for person one time.
Right.
Holding people within a longer period of time, like 24 hours, um, and focusing on them sort of energetically and going through their energy systems and holding them within that level of vibration allows them the space and the time to see what they're holding on to more easily. It's like a time for self-reflection and so on. It's sort of like if you were in when we're in a class or a workshop, we're in a higher energetic environment because of the people there physically, but the energetics associated with that specific physical location. And what we can do that also remotely. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's the reason why I do it for 24 hours, for people to truly see what they're holding on to a greater degree, allow them to go through a process of self-healing to a greater degree, maybe see some of the patterns they're holding on to. And then the second thing that I offer is the coaching, which is a 2-hour coaching session, and that I combine with the 24-hour cleanse. So someone could just get the cleanse. We never talk. We don't have to go into the details. Um, but then a lot of people really want to have, say, some advice or, some information to assist them in what they're working through. And like, a lot of times it's nice to have someone to be able to talk to say, and especially intuitively be able to sense, well, you've been doing this for a couple years. Here's an example of how to come out of that, you know, and to give some examples and suggestions of changing these patterns that may open them up to more of their own knowingness and to integrate more of their own power, their own self-empowerment and so on. And that's really what I focus on in these sessions.
And when you talk about energetic clearing, which is so important for many people who are starting their journey, what does that entail besides 24 hours? Are you doing a one-on-one on Zoom, or what? And is this chakra clearing? What is it, the modality, if you don't mind sharing a little bit more on what this clearing of energy means?
Well, I would say everyone has their own techniques for clearing energy. Everyone has come up with their own process. It doesn't matter if it's a modality or not. Everyone has their own process of how they see energy and how they deal with energy. So I have my own process of going through the levels of, say, their expanded chakra system and so on, and really clearing everything out at the beginning, and then going back through, and then sort of encasing within you could sort of see like an egg around their energetic being, and then continually zapping that egg, um, which lightens the energetic space, wherever they are. And so with the energetic cleanse, we don't necessarily really need to talk. We don't need to FaceTime. We don't need to do something together. It's a matter of just a space of reflection. And what I do is I provide affirmations for them in advance, of the session to repeat over like 3 or 4 times during the 24 hours that enhances the clearings, and also whatever they're trying to get more clarity on, that's built into those affirmations. A lot of people don't really even know how to use affirmations. They don't even know the power of affirmations. And
Right.
so that's the reason why in advance of those sessions, I tap in with their I am presence, their own divine self,
Sure.
and provide, they might say, well, I'm trying to figure this out, or I need more focus on this or that. And so I build those into the affirmations. They repeat the affirmations over that period of time, which then gives them more clarity, through the process.
Do you have a daily affirmation you use right now, Joe?
Um, it's not necessarily one. Um, through the years, I have gone through hundreds, that I have used. Sort of like one might be that's sort of coming to me right now is I dissolve all aspects of my being into the wholeness of love.
Beautiful.
I or I dissolve all aspects of my being throughout all levels of existence into pure love without conditions, or Mahatma love. That's, you can just pretty much mix it up. And the whole thing about affirmations is if we use them, the same ones over all the time, they sort of lose their power in a
Sure.
way. And so it's really good to mix them up and to come up with new ones continuously, because we're continually not working on the same thing we were working on a couple days ago.
Right.
So we are continually need to come up with our own affirmations. Um, you were asking me about modality or something else within the master classes that I share and have been facilitating now for going on 15 years. The new Paradigm MDT, and I call it in the system. It's a system of classes that assist with self healing, self empowerment, and within these experiences, we are activated with the most powerful energies within that's available here on earth. The Mahatma love is pure love without conditions, source energy.
Mhm.
And so if I was going to say that what modality or energy that I would be using in these clearings, it would be I Mahatma energy. And that in itself is pure love without conditions, pure source energy. Um, for those, a lot of people might not have ever heard of Mahatma energy. And Brian Grattan is the first person to write some books about the Mahatma energy. That's available through, I think his books are still available on Amazon. And quite a bit of information regarding the Mahatma energy and how it's tied into the changes that are currently taking place on Earth and so on. It's it's a great resource to get some information regarding what the Mahatma energy is through his books. Um, and then, of course, that's what we do in these classes is very like in-depth energetic clearing, going through all levels of the energetic systems through DNA clearing, light body clearing and activating your expanded chakra system, everything. Um, so it's a great, again, it's more of a resource than it is a modality. Um, a lot of people might call Reiki a modality,
Sure.
but all Reiki is really just a few symbols that tie into a certain levels of frequency ranges.
Right.
Um, But what's available to us now is infinite levels beyond the Reiki energy. These expanded levels of energetic systems are available, here now. So there's a lot of different possibilities and options available, for people that really wish to get to know themselves to a greater degree, and to really integrate more of their own multidimensional self, their I am presence, their divine self, and so on. These resources, such as these classes, or it's just not me offering these. There's plenty of people around the world that offer these classes. So anyway, that's a little bit.
You also have a podcast.
What's that?
What's the name of your podcast?
The podcast is, I don't necessarily have a podcast anymore. It's more like just a video YouTube channel. Power Up with Joe Weaver. And it's sort of the slogan I came with, just again to assist people in powering up. It's really a time period where we're in is to continually, when I share things, it's like, okay, it's time to power up, not just a lot of people's view of powering up your energy systems, yes, but it's a matter of powering up our awareness, powering up our being to truly be our authentic self, and speak our truth,
Yeah.
without the fear of judgment, and which is a very big thing right now in this time period that we're in, is for people to continue to speak their truth, even though there might be a lot of people that judge them, and say, oh, wow, might categorize, and the fear of that being categorized or judged by a family member, or say someone they know, or at work or whatever, is again all leads back to fear. And so if we're really going to step into our authentic presence, it's a matter of letting go of the fear of judgment, and really just speaking your truth regarding all these changes that are taking place in the world, all these atrocities and children being killed, and genocide and other things. More people need to speak up. These things are not going to resolve themselves until more people truly speak up. These situations that we're facing on a global level, these are stepping stones for people to truly step into their power. So these things have been playing in motion for years and years to get to this point. So if more of the population truly says this is not right, and I'm not going to participate in this, but also I speak up about this from here, and I'm a sovereign being, and I no longer wish to participate in that.
Yeah.
Not and that's what it's going to take for a lot of these big things that are on the world stage right now to be truly come into balance, is more people speaking up. It's not about you know which happens a lot. A lot of people go out, and when they say speaking up, they mean like causing burning down buildings or anything. I'm not talking about anything. That's how some people view speaking up. But
Sure.
really, what the way I'm describing it is speaking up, speaking your truth on a daily basis to everyone you know,
Right.
and being your authentic presence without fear of the consequences of you being your authentic self, you know? And the more of us that truly do that,
Sure.
the more that we are the examples for other people to truly make those choices and to step up. You know, it's time to power up. That's, you know, that's what it is. So
Joe, so is that the name of your YouTube channel, is Power Up with Joe?
power up with Joe Weaver. Yes. Yeah.
And what is the name of your website so that our listeners may, if this resonates with them and you align with their I am presence, where can they find your website?
It's joe-weaver.com. It's a little hyphen like in between, joe-weaver.com. I have a link and all the contact information on there. The long version of my monthly shift updates are on the YouTube channel Power Up with Joe Weaver, and I go over a bunch of different topics through that. Those topics I then break down into shorter videos, and I publish those shorter videos on Instagram, and so I share them through Instagram. So if you can connect to both the YouTube channel, get the long version, and then you can connect to Instagram and get all the shorter versions or whatever you like. I found that it works well doing that because a lot of people, of course, when you have an hour video out there, a lot of people, they don't have the attention span to really be able to listen that long. And so that's the reason why I started breaking them out into the shorter segments and so on.
It's a smart move on the shorter segments because
Yeah,
it grabs enough attention so that everybody can kind of see it or not if they want to listen to
yeah.
the rest of it.
Hmm.
I've really enjoyed our conversation. We are at the end of the hour. As you know, we just said that we start losing people when we go much longer.
Yeah.
We went over so much about labels and identity and fear and trust and being authentic.
Yes, definitely. It was definitely it's a pleasure to be here and talking with you again, Anna. And maybe again in the future we'll be able to connect and share some more info.
I would love to do any collaborations coming up ahead. I found it fascinating, not fascinating, I would say more synchronistic, and why I thought it was alchemy that we were all doing here because last week I had Paige on and this week I have you, Joe. And this was around 2013 and 2014. So we're here as a decade later. We are on podcast, video chatting together towards the same end result.
Yeah.
Same goals, same love, same unity. I love you. I thank you for your wonder and wisdom that you're sharing with the world.
Love you too, Anna. Love to everyone. Mahatma on. Love flowing to everyone.
See you next time, everybody. Happy 8/8. Everyone have a beautiful end of the month. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Peace.